Hi, everyone. Joe Carrig, managing broker of Coldwell Banker Real Estate in Danville. And this is your San Ramon Valley neighborhood update for the week of September 20th. So, a couple things in the news the last couple days. I've talked in past videos about SB 9, uh, and Governor Newsom just signed in SB 9 and also SB 10. SB 9, depending on what side of the fence that you're on, there is one side of the fence that says this is great. This will be able to bring in more affordable housing, more housing to California. The other side of the coin basically says this is the end of suburbia. What SB 9 basically does, if you take any neighborhood, even a neighborhood with a strong HOA like Blackhawk, gated, doesn't really matter. What it does is it basically does away with single family zoning. So when a builder builds a neighborhood, each lot is basically built to be able to have one home on it. And then a few years ago, they basically passed a law because they wanted to get more affordable housing that neighborhoods and HOAs could not turn down ADU units. So even in a condo complex, if you could, legally, make it safe and pass all the code requirements, you could turn your garage in a townhouse into an ADU unit. And there's nothing that the HOA could do. Well, now what SB 9 does, and basically SB 10, it takes basically does do away with single family zoning. So let's take a neighborhood, and really any neighborhood. Let's just take Blackhawk, for instance. So Blackhawk, each home is considered a single family lot. You can have one home on there. Now, as of a couple years ago, you can put an ADU unit on there. And ADU unit obviously is an auxiliary dwelling unit that you can rent out, you can live in. The idea behind that was the fact that you could create more housing because we definitely need more housing. We have a shortage in California. Well, what SB 9 does now is as long as it follows setback requirements, that you can have two homes on any single family lot now. And each one of those homes can have an ADU unit. So literally in any neighborhood, HOA or not, where there's a single family home, single family zoning, and there's one home on a lot, if it has room, you could actually have 4 units on that lot. So if you have single family home, home, all of a sudden someone next door to you could have 2 homes and 2 ADU units and have 4 families, living in there. So that was passed, and there's nothing counties or cities or HOAs can do about it. Now, other big part of SB 9, SB 10 talks about, and we've talked about it here before, like in San Ramon, there was a proposal put forth to knock down Starbucks and Nob Hill in the marketplace and put 4 and 5-story apartment complexes that had a certain amount of low income, very low income, and moderate income housing. Now, obviously, there's no way in the world that, a single story, grocery store surrounded by residential could ever be zoned for a multi-story apartment complex. It wouldn't pass many, zoning situations. But you can now, as long as you have a certain amount of low income and very low income housing and moderate income housing, you can basically bypass. Like, for instance, that high rise I'm talking about at Nob Hill, it would violate the, zoning violations as far as height, the number of stories. Well, it can bypass that. It would certainly violate the amount of density of how many homes that you could put in a certain amount of area, and they can bypass that now. And there's really not anything that cities or counties can do to stop it because it's signed by law. And as you really know, if a county has a law and the state has another law, the state obviously overrides what the county is. So if you want more information, give me a call. Again, Joe Carrig, 925-487-6838. Or just look up SB 9 and SB10. Now let's get to this week in the San Ramon market. Again, it's kind of a mixed bag of goods. When you look at it, every week we kind of have some markets getting a little stronger, some getting a little weaker, and it seems to switch back and forth. The one thing overall that we're seeing, though, and coming out of August, we weren't quite sure because August is always one of the slowest months of the year. Pre-COVID, for 7 straight years, it was the slowest month of the year because people were going on vacation, they're getting their kids started in school, but we did see a slowdown in August. Now, we're just a few weeks out of that and past Labor Day, and it looks like, if the house is really nice, we're still getting multiple offers. It certainly is still a seller's market, but we're not seeing, remember, the more offers we get, the higher the price gets bid up, which obviously raises the prices. You guys have been seeing that almost week in and week out. The market has been going up 10%. The sold properties have been going up. They're selling at 110 to 115% of asking, and we've seen that week after week after week after week. Hence, that's why basically $1.5 million home in San Ramon or Danville in January is basically going for $500,000 more. It's kind of nuts. But we are seeing a little bit of slowdown. So let's look at the graphs. The San Ramon market, you can see the active properties went down a little bit, pending properties went up. That's not a good sign if you're a buyer because everything is supply and demand. But again, we'll see how that bounces because, you saw the activity go up. So, but inventory is still extremely low. And you look at Danville, you have the same thing. I mean, look at active properties way down, pending properties way up. This is definitely not good if you're a buyer. It's just a supply and demand. Now we'll see next week if it bounces back a little bit because it has been kind of going, back and forth. I mean, if you look at the week before, 9/12, you see that basically active properties, they went from 82 to 78, so they went down a little bit. But pendings, our pending properties went down a little bit, but active properties jumped way up. Well, now pending properties jumped way up, active properties went down. So not a good sign if you're a buyer in Danville. Now, on Blackhawk on the other side, now these look like big numbers, but it really only the active properties went from 12 to 13. Pending properties stayed the same. Now, unlike San Ramon and Danville, look at Alamo. Active properties have gone up and pending properties have gone way down. So it really is kind of a mixed bag of goods because you look at Dublin, it's the same type of thing. Pending properties have gone down, active properties have gone up, the exact opposite of San Ramon and Danville. But here's the big thing, is you look at what's kind of been trending the last couple weeks. Most everything, if you can remember, there was a couple weeks where every single city that we track was going between 110 and 115% over asking on basically, selling for over 10% above asking. But look at the last couple weeks, except for Alamo, last week, and Dublin last week that barely hit 110% of asking of a sales price over asking price. Almost across the board, everything now is below 110. And that's what you see when you start to see, this is kind of the start of the market leveling off a little bit, where, prices go up and up and up and up to the point that it pushes a lot of buyers out of the market. There's not as many buyers. It doesn't get bid up as much. We'll see what happens, but we've definitely seen a trend over the past 3 weeks that the market has definitely, it's still very active, still a seller's market, but we're not seeing as many offers. But I mean, that's natural. I mean, every 2 months the market was going up 10%. How many months in a row can the market go up 10%? Especially when the average price is, $1.5 million or so. So if you have any other questions, every market is a little bit different. If you have any other questions, reach out, give me a call. Again, Joe Carrig, cell number 925-487-6838, or joe.carrig@cbrealty.com. Again, managing broker of Coldwell Banker in Danville. We're really excited because, we're right on the corner of Sycamore Valley and San Ramon Valley Road. And we have now just signed a second lease location in Blackhawk, 2,700 square feet. So we will now have an office in Blackhawk and an office in Danville. So again, any other questions about anything with the market, give me a call, 925-487-6838. And as always, may God bless your family. May God bless you. May God bless our first responders and our troops. And may God bless the United States of America. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon.